Hello again. We are continuing our discussion on writing equations for linear functions. We're going to talk about how to write them in one last form, which is standard form. So let's talk about what that looks like. What it is some number times x plus some number times y equals some number. So a, b, and c all have to be replaced with numbers. This form is maybe the nicest looking, but it really doesn't tell you much about the line itself like the other forms did. So plus, to make matters worse, there's some restrictions on what a, b, and c can actually be equal to. They have to be integers, and the first number, the a, the number that's in front of x, has to be positive. So that makes life a little more tricky. And as I said, it looks nice, but really doesn't help you when you have to graph it. But we do need to know how to do it, so here's how we write linear equations in that form. We still need to find what the slope is. It could be given to us, or we may have to calculate it, just like all other forms. Secondly, we're going to plug in the point that we've been given, or one of the points that we've been given, and then we will write it in point-slope form, which you see there. You're familiar with that one. Now what I need to do is convert it from point-slope form to standard form. So I use the distributive property to expand the parentheses. And then I make sure that all of my x's and y's are on the left like they're supposed to be, and there's a single constant on the right like they're supposed to be. And what I do finally is if the numbers a, b, and c do not meet the requirements, like if they're not all integers, or if the first number isn't positive, then I have to multiply every term by some constant so that they actually do meet the requirements. And we'll go through some examples of that. All right, so let's talk about an example where the slope is given to you. All right, so I need to find the equation of the line through 6, 5 that has a slope of 3/2. All right, first I need to find the slope, but I'm already told that that's 3/2, so that part's done. Now I need to plug in the point 6, 5 and the slope of 3/2 into point-slope form. And when I do that, the equation becomes y minus 5 equals 3/2 times x minus 6. So now it's in an acceptable form, it's point-slope form, and I need to convert it to standard form. So using the distributive property, the left-hand side stays the same, y minus 5, but the right-hand side becomes 3/2 times x minus 3/2 times 6, which is 9. So my equation is y minus 5 equals 3/2 x minus 9. All right, so no parentheses anymore, so now it's time to move everything to the proper side. You'll see that I have x's on the right that need to move, and I have a 5 on the left that also needs to move. So I will add negative 3/2 x plus 5 to both sides, and that will move everything where it needs to go. And my equation will be negative 3/2 x plus y equals negative 4. So now everything is in the proper place. The x's and y's are on the left, and there's a single constant on the right. But you'll notice that my coefficients don't meet the requirements. There's a fraction there, and the first term is negative. So how do I get rid of that? Well, I'm going to multiply every single term by -2. That will get rid of the fractions, and it will make the first term positive, and I will get 3x minus 2y equals 8. That is in standard form. All of the coefficients are integers, and the first coefficient is a positive 3. All right, so here's an example where I have 2 points instead of the slope being given to me. So I need to find the equation of the line that passes through 4, 9, and 8, 12. So I need to find the slope first, and you know how to do that. Change in y over change in x. The change in y is going to be the 12 from the second point minus the 9 from the first point, and that's 3. The change in x is going to be 8 from the second point minus 4 from the first point, and that's 4. So the slope is going to be change in y over change in x, and that is 3/4. I'm going to plug in the point 4, 9 and that slope of 3/4 into point-slope form, and I will get y minus 9 equals 3/4 times x minus 4. And notice that I could have plugged in 8, 12, and I would have gotten the same answer. I won't go through that with you, but we can talk about that more in class. So now I need to convert point-slope form to standard form. So to do that, I use distributive property on the right-hand side. Y minus 9 is still y minus 9, but the right-hand side becomes 3/4 x minus 3. And now, just like before, I've got x's on the wrong side, and I've got a constant of minus 9 on the wrong side. So I adjust by adding negative 3/4 x plus 9 to both sides. And that makes the left-hand side negative 3/4 x plus y, and it makes the right-hand side 6. Okay, so everything is in the proper place, but once again, I've got fractions as coefficients, and the first coefficient, the one in front of x, is negative, and I need to make that positive. How do I do that? I multiply everything by negative 4. So what that means is that the negative 3/4 x will become positive 3x, the positive y will become negative 4y, and the 6 will become negative 24. So now it is in standard form. All of the coefficients are integers, and the first coefficient is a positive. It's a positive 3. So that's how I take the information about a line and I convert it to standard form. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I will see you tomorrow.